All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. Again, if you guys have not had a chance to listen to part one and two of the Witty Wallet, which is explaining how much do I need to retire comfortably, I recommend pausing this and then going to review and listen to episode one and two, as it will make more sense, especially with this case study. So once you've had a chance to listen to that, again, we're going to dive now into this case study, which is going to look into a real life situation for a client. Of course, I had changed their names and some information for confidentiality purposes, but this is a life plan here to give you guys an idea what I talked about in the Witty Wallet series. How much do I need to retire comfortably? So first, when going through this plan with my clients, of course, we go and cover the basics, of course, just, their ages, occupation. As you guys recall, James is already retired. He's been retired for a couple years now. And Fran, we are planning or hoping that she can retire at next year at the age of 63. Right now, both of them are 62. And again, they have one son, Wyatt, who is 35, single. He does have a girlfriend, and it's very serious. So, Fran and James are hoping that someday there's going to be a marriage and some grandchildren. So, let's take a look at some of their priorities that they stated upon on my first couple meetings with them. Again, their concern was retirement planning. Fran does want to retire next year, and they want to start traveling and seeing the world and start enjoying their retirement. And another goal or priority they stated for me was leaving a legacy for Wyatt. And then also with their investments, they wanted to make sure that their investments were adequately being invested and managed for what they needed. So again, the goals upon our discovery, after looking at their cash flow needs, travel budget, and so forth, they stated that they would like to be able to spend about $72,000 per year in today's terms. And they do have a home improvement goal that they would like to try to accomplish next year in 2024. And as far as leaving inheritance to Wyatt, they said, $500,000 if possible. They would love to be able to leave to Wyatt. Now, if we take a look at their net worth, again, we can kind of see how their net worth is currently broken down. They have their cash sitting between their checking and savings accounts. They have qualified IRAs and qualified annuity accounts, and you can see the balances there. And they have the primary home that's worth about $1 million and a rental that's worth about $750,000. And as far as liabilities, they still have a mortgage on that rental that's about $95,000. And that's the remaining balance. So currently their total net worth is about $2.1 million. And if we take a look at their income, again, Fran is still working. She's an artist, and she, on average, makes about $31,000 a year. As far as their Social Security, again, this was another reason why they wanted to meet with me and start this plan, is because they wanted to make sure that, at first, actually, they wanted to consider taking Social Security at 62, because again, different planning issues. If Fran was to retire, they again feel like they're gonna have a shortfall in income, so they decided, well, what if we take Social Security at 62? That should be able to help cover any gap or any shortfall. Now, for the purposes of this plan, we are defaulting, meaning that we're going to simulate instead that they take their retirement benefits at full retirement, which for James and Fran, that's going to be 67, and we can see the estimated annual amount that they would be entitled to at their full retirement age. Now, currently, again, they both are receiving their pensions from previous employers, so this is how much they get about per year from their pension, and then how much they collect per year as far as their rental income. So again, not counting their current Social Security, we can see their three income sources right now, about 125, 130,000, give or take approximately, right? Is their current income. Now their expenses, again, we are planning for retirement expense of $72,000 per year, but again, that is not counting their mortgage. which they have rental mortgage, runs them about 15,600 per year. And other goals, again, 2024, next year, they have a budget for home improvement of $50,000. And we have medical expenses for when they start to hit Medicare. I usually like to simulate this, just simulating what expenses might not be covered by Medicare. Perhaps, for example, vision and dental, unless you get supplemental plans. But there could be other expenses that are not covered. So I usually like to put a little bit more than higher average buffer amounts, just because my experience with a lot of clients that are already retired, they said it to me, their number one expense as they get older is medical expenses. So just kind of leaving that buffer for out-of-pocket medical expenses to start when they hit 65 at Medicare age. Now, currently, they are paying about $8,400 a year for private insurance. Again, that's going to stop until they, and that's going to stop, sorry, when they hit Medicare age at 65. Then we have their property casualty insurance for their home, auto, primary home rental, and we can see there. And of course, for taxes, again, we cannot escape taxes. We assume filing Form 1040, live in California. So there's going to be taxes that are part of the expenses, right? So we got to factor that in. So at this point, again, their expenses are being covered by their current income. So the issue, the concern is when we lose Fran's income, they have a budget of home improvement for 50,000. There's a feeling or thought that maybe we'll have to start turning on Social Security much earlier than than full retirement age. Because the other key issue is, we're no longer saving or contributing anymore once Fran does retire. Now, for purposes of asset allocation or investments, again, this is just simulating what their current allocation is sitting in. They have their annuities and fixed, low risk annuities, and their retirement accounts currently are sitting in cash. So the yield or the return that we're simulating here is fairly low. So again, this is just kind of giving you guys an overview of how their snapshot scenario looks like today with all the facts. So as we continued on the conversation now, I wanted to show them first and foremost, what is their overall life of their portfolio, the risk of running out of money, those different scenarios that everyone is concerned about when approaching retirement. So I'm going to click this on here first. So what we are looking at here, this is assuming all of those details that I just went over with you guys, and more importantly, assuming that they receive their Social Security at their full retirement age. So what this chart essentially is showing them is that by the end of the plan, and by the way, I didn't go into that, but we simulated that James, male, would live to age 90, and Fran, being female, lives a little bit longer. We simulate she will live till age 95. So again, the end of this plan is 95, and that's simulating when Fran is to pass away. So we can see here, as far as portfolio assets and total net worth, we can see the portfolio that they have, starting value, over time, the growth as time goes on. And more importantly, again, another disclosure, we are simulating inflation as well into this. So we're inflating their cost of living, we're inflating their Social Security benefits and everything else. So the average inflation rate that I simulated here is 4%, just to put into context for you guys. So basically, long story short, right at the end of the analysis, it's showing that they're going to be pretty decent. There's no chance of running out of money, at least in this scenario. So how can we look at that a little bit further as far as no chance of running out of money? Because remember, on the podcast, I talked about this this analysis that we run called the Monte Carlo analysis. And again, it runs 1,000 different probable trials going from best case to worst case scenario to median and everything in between. And essentially the goal is to get majority of those 1,000 trials somewhere around here. The more we have somewhere around landing here, that means that there's a chance of running out of money. Well, in this particular case for James and Fran, there's 100% probability of success. So basically, high chance that they are not going to run out of money. Now, of course, that is based off of their current situation. That's based off of their current cash flow needs. That is based off of the current income that we're expecting to come in. Social Security benefits turning at 67. So again, that is just based off of these situations. Again, when it comes to financial planning, this is important to be reviewed each and every year because we know life can change and unexpected circumstances and situations can definitely change this number as far as probability of success of the account growth over time. Now we can take a look at, for example, the cash flow to show exactly kind of where those numbers all come from. So we can see if we start here, salary or bonus, that's Fran's salary right now. She retires next year. And we can see a big withdrawal in the orange. That is for their home renovation plus any supplemental withdrawals that we need to take for their expenses. And again, the red line that simulates, as you guys can see, total expenses. Now, total expenses also factors in their estimated taxes that they're going to have to pay as well too. So you can see the orange represents any supplemental withdrawals that they have to make out, other income, rental, pension, and then Social Security. So as you guys can see here, we have Social Security turning on for them at their full retirement age, which is the age of 67. And cash flow, again, if you guys had listened to my other podcasts, you hear me talk a lot about these things called RMDs, or required minimum distributions. And that is a requirement that states if you have money in pre-tax accounts like a 401k, 403b, traditional IRA, anything that has yet to be taxed from the IRS, at age 75 for James and Fran, they have to start taking out their RMDs. For this year, for 2023, it's at 73, and in a few years down the road, they're gonna change the date to 75. So that's why for James and Fran, it's simulating at 75. They have to start taking out, in that example, $23,440. So you can see, based off of their expenses and based off of their needs, how they're going to exceed their amount of income versus their expenses. So that is really the primary driver, the primary catalyst for their high probability of success, because they have a very healthy cash flow going into the majority of their retirement with Social Security, with pension benefits. So their need for additional or supplemental withdrawals really is not going to be necessary once they start collecting Social Security, because we can see again there's no need for additional withdrawals after that point in time. Now, when we take a look at their first planning scenario, again, they came to me and stated, well, we're considering taking Social Security early because, again, of loss of Fran's income, and we have a big household budget. So in this scenario, we can actually show them with confidence that, you actually will be fine if you wait until full retirement age because of your healthy cash flow in the future, and also the risk of running out of money is really low. Right? I mean, we have 100% probability of success. So what I wanted to show them then was, okay, well, what if maybe you guys didn't have this conversation with me and you guys turned on Social Security at 62, like you originally decided to do. As you guys can see there, that change and what that did, I'm going to unclick this first and re-click this here. So what that did is it actually decreased their overall ending value by almost about 743,000. And you guys might be wondering, well, why is that possible? I mean, they're collecting Social Security, 5 years earlier, their cash flow is good, so they have more money to reinvest, right, each and every year. That's true, But if you guys remember in episode 2 of this series, or I'm sorry, this episode 3, I talked about the break-even point for Social Security. And the break-even point is that at no matter when you take it, whether it's 62, your full retirement age, or take Social Security at 70, the amount of money that you accumulated will be the same at around age 80. So you can see here they're in the green, right, by taking Social Security early, but by the time they get to around, well, this scenario, 77, age 80, they're starting to be in the black, meaning it hurts them more or hurts their overall net worth by taking Social Security early. So again, they lost potentially $743,000 by making a decision to take Social Security early. Again, that is for their scenario. It's not for everyone. I've worked with clients and have completed plans for clients that show a better benefit for taking it at 62 versus full retirement or even 70. But it was all because of their particular situation and all the different variables that they had going on in their plan. So what I wanted to show them as well was, again, we analyze cash flow. Cash flow looks pretty healthy. We can wait till 67. Well, what if we decided and then to wait till 70? What difference, benefit, or negative would that be versus taking it at full retirement? So when I click that, so big difference there. So if they in fact actually wait till 70 as opposed to taking it at full retirement, what that's going to do for them is it's going to give them a potential additional added value to their net worth of about $466,000 by the end of the plan. So that's, almost $500,000 if they wait 3 more years. So because again, remember, when it comes to your Social Security benefits, once you hit full retirement, right, you get 100% of your entitled benefit. But if you delay, each year that you delay till 70, you get a 8% increase on that Social Security income. And that's free. That's a free guaranteed 8%, income benefit. So that's pretty hard to pass up. I mean, you can see here that the benefit, again, that break-even point is around age 80, where it really starts to pay off for them, being able to wait. And again, because we took a look at their cash flow, we took a look at those scenarios, we can now have that conversation about that flexibility to say we could wait till full retirement or even age 70, and this will be the potential outcome if you wait or delay taking Social Security at those times. So it was great conversation, really opened things up for them. Now, some other things that I wanted to talk to them about was their goal of legacy planning and wanting to leave a legacy to Wyatt. And so I wanted to incorporate in the plan and start to have conversation with them about considering Roth conversions of their IRA accounts because based off of their income, we have a potential to do some Roth conversions, especially if we're delaying their Social Security income, right? So what I wanted to show you guys here was the first scenario where I simulated for them that if we do wait till full retirement, till 67 to collect Social Security, right, that's going to give us a little bit of room in their income to do some Roth conversions. So what I simulated here in the first scenario was a Roth conversion each and every year just up until their federal tax bracket, which they're around the 10 to 12% bracket. So I wanted to convert enough just to keep them within that same bracket, because anything over that would bump them up into the 22% tax bracket. So that's why it's important to consider this, again, if their income situation is a little low. That's why deferring and waiting till taking full retirement age for Social Security could really help benefit in this scenario. So in this scenario, if I turn on Roth conversion till full retirement, you can see what those Roth conversions would do. So it would help them gain an additional 416,000. Now again, keep in mind that's them collecting Social Security at 67, but we're converting from now until 67. So we can see, I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to turn this off first. So another chart that I like to look at is the taxes, because again, we're talking about taxes and the benefit of the Roth IRA. So for the purpose of this plan, cumulative taxes that they would most likely pay over their lifetime based off of everything that we inputted is about $2.4 billion in taxes. And we can see each and every year federal tax, state tax over time, right? And so if we do any Roth conversions, if I click that on, you guys can see here it bumped up the red, right? And that's because, again, we're converting for the next 4 years before they hit 67, when we turn on Social Security and they hit full retirement, right? So we're only going to convert up until 67, but when we're converting, again, we're shifting money from pre-tax to after-tax Roth accounts. So we're paying some income taxes now by doing that conversion. So that's why, again, we're only doing enough so that we don't put them into the next highest bracket. But by doing that, again, it has bumped up our total portfolio asset by the end of the plan by 416,000, but it's also saved us about 63,000 in income taxes paid over a lifetime. So this sum might be not much, but again, still to the overall net benefit, we're still netting potentially an additional 416,000. So pretty powerful, especially when it comes to leaving more legacy to their son Wyatt. Now, what I wanted to then show them, we'll come back to this screen, is again, we talked about now delaying Social Security till 70. So we delay Social Security till 70. We already know that that was going to give them about an additional 466,000 gain to their total wealth. But what if we, on top of that, do Roth conversions as well at the same time until age 70? You can see that added almost about another 400,000. So total gain by delaying Social Security till 70 for them and doing Roth conversions till 70 for them, we've gained about 884,000, almost $1 million in additional wealth by these two moves. And when we take a look at, again, their tax situation, again, because we're converting a little bit more for a little bit longer period of time, right? We can see here the taxes and the tax situation. So we would end up paying about an additional 94,000 in taxes because we've converted longer, but also because their Social Security, we delayed it, so their income's higher. But again, still the positive net effect to their wealth is still almost 884,000 by the end of the plan. So very, very powerful stuff here when we're talking about additional planning tools and legacy. And again, it makes sense for James and Fran. Doesn't mean that they have to go with this plan and say delay till 70, do Roth conversions till 70. But now they see the power of what doing these simple adjustments can make. And now they have the flexibility each and every year as we review their plan to make changes or stick to the plan, right? Because now they have a guide, they have a roadmap. They could take it at 62, start taking Social Security at 62, and they'll be completely fine. We already know that. They could wait till 67, pending any changes, they're going to be fine. They can wait till 70, pending any changes, and they're going to be fine. It's just a matter of every year what changes happen in life. But if their goal is to overall maximize their wealth, then again, looking at these two scenarios of delaying till 70 and doing the Roth conversion till 70 makes sense in their scenario. So again, for them, we're taking it case by case scenario, but now they feel a lot more confident in their path and their plan moving forward. And they feel confident that they can do the renovation next year and spend 50,000 of their assets, and that Fran can retire next year. Again, what works for them and how we determined that was their cash flow. And as I stated in the uh, podcast episode series, that's why cash flow and understanding your cash flow is so important, in addition to just knowing how much money you should have as far as a nest egg heading into retirement. Now, one other thing I wanted to go and show you guys before I finish this up is the balance sheets. And what you guys are looking at here is it is showing you guys, let's go back here, the balance sheet based off of current scenario, meaning they take retirement full retirement at 67 versus the advanced facts, which is where we delay till 70 Social Security and we do Roth conversions. So this is as of today. So I just want to fast forward it here and simulate, for example, age 75. Okay, and the reason why I chose age 75 is, if you guys remember, that is when they're going to have to start taking out their RMDs, or the required minimum distribution. And we can see here current or base facts versus the advanced planning that we're doing for them, Roth conversions and delaying Social Security. You can see how their assets break down. And again, this is different now because we've been doing Roth conversions up until age 70. Here, there is no Roth conversion. We kept everything in pre-tax dollars or pre-tax money. So that's why they have their money here. And in here, we've shifted money over time, right? So you can see by the age of 75, 3.7 versus 3.62. So advanced plan right now, they're still a little bit behind, right? But when we progress and the older they get, if we go to age 80, we can see kind of how their balances begin to shift. The advanced plan starts to pay off more. You can see how their assets are broken down. Roth IRA begins to, become equal value to their annuities. Again, here we still have money in qualified retirement and annuities. And if we move forward even further to the end of the plan, we can see the breakdown. Again, the Roth IRAs are going to be the majority of their assets. Here, again, we still have some money in IRAs and annuities, but they've depleted that because of RMDs. And we can see the difference taking Social Security at full retirement versus delaying Social Security till 70 and then doing Roth conversions. Almost about 900,000 difference, again, 884,000 based on that scenario. And the last thing I wanted to show you guys was the estate flow chart. So again, this would be what passes on to their only son, Wyatt. So this is, again, their estate, right, as of today. Again, side-by-side comparison, same thing, no changes as of today. So if we were to start implementing some of the changes that we talked about, I'm just going to fast forward. Let's just say they live to age 80, or let's go to 75, like we had showed you earlier as far as the balances. So in this scenario, right, we can see here, again, by taking Social Security at 67, and that's the base facts, what would pass on to Wyatt after taxes and expenses, about 3.5 million. For the advanced plan, what would pass on to Wyatt would be about 3.511. So he would still fare better, with the taking the money at Social Security at 67 with no Roth conversions at age 75. Again, you can see here, base facts taking it at 67, the amount of taxes that he would be expected to pay about 200 million. With the Roth conversions, he'd pay about 110, right? So he paid less in taxes, but again, all intents purposes, the net difference, it would still have made sense to take Social Security at full retirement with no Roth conversions. Now that's assuming, again, Fran and James die at 75. Now again, when we're talking about planning and some of the risk involved, this longevity risk, right? So we do have to expect or plan, especially if there's health, good health and longevity in the family, that James and Fran will live past 75. So if let's just say they live to age 80, okay? They live to age 80. Well, in this scenario, it'd be 4.56 versus 4.67. That passes on to Wyatt. So this is where we start to see the benefit of delaying Social Security till 70 and also Roth conversions, because you'll notice the difference here, the taxes. It's about almost 100,000 difference in taxes saved because, again, Wyatt has a Roth IRA that passes to him tax-free. Now let's just say we go to age 90 when James passes. At age 90, what would pass to Wyatt would be 7.3 after taxes versus 7.98, almost $600,000 difference. And a lot of that, again, you can see the taxes and difference, but also the appreciation. And then lastly, age 95, we can see, again, 8.3 versus 9.266. So pretty big difference here when it comes to just the legacy planning that we're talking about, because again, with the Roth IRAs, we have that ability to let that money continue to appreciate tax-free, and that money will then pass on to Wyatt. So again, as we just kind of just went over here, guys, again, a lot of good information. Hopefully you guys found this information helpful and useful and kind of can see, the power of planning, but more importantly, I wanted to show you guys this particular case study to show you the importance of why I feel understanding cash flow and, if need be, having a flexible spending plan are equally important, if not more, than just knowing how much of a lump sum you should have at retirement. Because again, by then knowing those scenarios or the situations, you can then start to plan out and see what is the best way to maximize Social Security. Are there other vehicles that you can start to consider, strategies such as a Roth conversion and other types of family trust once we go into more advanced planning, especially for large estates and business owners, large liquidations where there's huge capital gains. There's a lot of different things that one needs to think about, and this is why it's so important to start to plan earlier than later and start to get a better idea of what your situation is going to look like. So again, hope you guys found this information useful. If you guys do have questions or would like more information, please go ahead and visit us at mavenbridgecapital.com. Again, mavenbridgecapital.com. You can also shoot me an email at hello@mavenbridgecapital.com. If you'd like more information or you'd like to schedule a virtual chat, you can do that on the website, or again, shoot me an email. Other than that, I hope you guys again enjoyed this video, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Securities offered through Kestra Investment Services, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Kestra Private Wealth Services, LLC, an affiliate of Kestra is. Maven Bridge Capital and Kestra Investment Services are not affiliated. Kestra is and Kestras do not provide tax or legal advice. The opinions expressed in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Kestra Investment Services, LLC or Kestra Advisory Services, LLC. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations for any individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning the past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as an indication of future results.